Imagine a sponge. When it's dry, it soaks up all the water around it effortlessly. But when it's saturated, it can't take in any more, no matter how much you try. Now think of your mind as a kind of mental sponge for learning. When your mind thinks it already knows everything, it becomes saturated and resistant to learning. But if you learn to approach things from a beginner's mindset, you keep your mind dry and ready to absorb new experiences and new knowledge effectively, allowing you to learn faster. This is one of the reasons why kids are able to learn new skills like languages so quickly. Their mind is naturally open and unsaturated, and their mental sponge is not filled with a bunch of biases and preconceived notions. Here's how we can use this insight to massively accelerate our learning. A couple months ago, I decided to begin learning how to animate in Adobe After Effects. When I first started, I made the classic mistake of just skipping the basics and just wanting to jump straight into making complex animations. The problem with this approach was I quickly started to hit roadblocks and I struggled to make progress. I was really close to quitting until I decided to shift my approach. I went back to the basics. I started following beginner level tutorials step by step, and I began experimenting with basic techniques that I hadn't attempted before. And by taking this approach, I realized that I'm actually learning faster now and I'm creating better animations than before. And I really think that the key here is that I'm just willing to be a noob, be a beginner, and start from scratch. Now there's a few things that are helping me apply this insight into my life. Number one is to notice the I knew it mechanism in your mind. Sometimes I'll be learning and I'll notice my mind goes, oh, I already know this. I can skip over it. And the problem with thinking this way is that when you think you know something, you automatically close yourself off to learning anything new about it. And so I'll be reading a book, for instance, and I'll come across an idea or a principle I've heard somewhere else before. And just because I've heard it before, I'll be like, oh yeah, I already know this. And my mind will tend to skip over it. Now these days, when I notice my mind go think in that direction, and I notice the I knew it mechanism in my mind, I automatically have like an alarm bell go off in my mind. And I ask myself, okay, sure, I've heard this insight before, but have I actually applied it? Have I actually tested it out in my own life? And have I verified it to be true or not true, useful or unuseful? Because actually a lot of the time I'll find that even if I think I know something, I don't actually know it. I haven't actually tried it, so I don't actually understand what's being said. So when your mind goes, I knew that, just notice it and question that assumption. The second thing that's been helping me is the mindset that all learning happens outside of your comfort zone. Staying inside of your comfort zone might make you feel safe, but it also means that you're not pushing yourself, you're not really challenging yourself to grow. Learning is inherently tied to discomfort because in order to learn something, you need to do new things. And when you're doing new things, you're gonna make mistakes and you're gonna fail, and that's gonna be a hit to the ego. But you gotta almost cultivate a sense of enjoyment in that process, knowing that that is what's leading you to a deeper understanding. So I'm trying to deliberately push myself to go outside my comfort zone more, make more mistakes, and fail more because I know that that really is where the learning happens. The learning doesn't happen within your comfort zone. By incorporating these two strategies, you're going to be able to keep your mental sponge dry and able to absorb new information faster. This will accelerate your learning and it'll help you achieve your goals faster.